Thanks. Rory, go ahead and then use the chat if you want to request a question. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Rory.
Yeah, listen, congratulations on the result, the draw. How pleasing is it to be sitting here with, not a win to your credit, but a result and a performance to hang your hat on?
Yeah, it's a small step forward. I think coming into the game, I spoke a lot about putting some pride back into English cricket and into the Test performances. And I think the fight and the desire and the character shown today and throughout the 5 days has done that in a small way. It's obviously we go into every Test match wanting to win and to win convincingly, but from the position that we found ourselves in at certain points within this game, to be able to sit here having drawn was, at the start of today, it was always going to take a good performance, and really proud of the way the guys dug in and managed to do that.
You had a few walking wounded, obviously, and they all sort of pulled their share of the weight. But how proud in particular of the tail end, because there was a hell of a lot still to do, and I guess things must have been getting pretty hairy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time Jack stood up in that sort of situation, is it? And Brodie and Jimmy have done it at times before as well. So there was a little bit of experience for them to cling on to going into it, but still a lot of hard work had to be done there. And again, to be able to stand up to that pressure and show that grit and determination was vitally important. And I'm very proud of the way that they managed to get us to walk away with something from this game.
And just lastly from me, how many of those 3 injuries were sort of making their last contribution of the series? Do you know how many you're going to have available to you next week? Well,
I have to make some further assessments, but Jos Buttler is going to have to fly home and won't take any further part in the tour. It's quite a serious injury, and for him to be able to front up and put in as he did from that moment he took that knock, shows how much he cares. Shows how much it means for him to play in this Test team, and how much it means for him to play for England. And I think a lot of the guys could see a number of players hurting physically and still putting in a huge amount. And in many ways it lifted the rest of the group. Really proud of the way that they stood up at times, clearly in a lot of pain to produce for England.
Nice one, thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Let's go Will, Matt first, and Dean Wilson, please.
Hi, Joe. I wondered if you could give us a sense of what those guys who have got injuries went through to get on the park today and back. Did they have injections? Were they dosed up to their eyeballs? Just how, what were the practical things that happened to get them playing?
There was clearly a bit of pain relief required. I think everyone was slightly different, but again, it's still, I suppose, not just the physical element to it, but the psychological of knowing that you're going into a pressured situation, not 100%, to then still be able to perform at the level that some of the guys did was phenomenal, really. And shows a huge amount of character, as I've said. So I'm very proud of that, and it's a step forward for the team, definitely. And again, some quite difficult circumstances.
And could I just ask about the sort of team nature of that effort? With I think 8 of the batters faced more than 29 balls. Everyone kind of chipped in, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Obviously, it would have been nice if all the work was done by the top order, as you'd always want, but it doesn't. It certainly doesn't seem to fall like that. And we never make it easy for ourselves, do we? You guys probably feel that as much as anyone watching. But we found a way to get it done today. And albeit the guys at the end there had to deal with a tricky period. It was very much a team effort, and that's all right. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought there.
All right, you answered.
Yeah, fine, thanks. Sorry,
we're just waiting for Cole to leave the room. I think he just got a bit of audio feedback. Sorry about that. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Can we go with Dean Wilson and then Andrew Ramsey, please?
Hi, Joe. Obviously, the word whitewash is not one that you want to associate with this tour, and you have to, I guess, adjust your ambitions as things develop. How important was it to avoid that on your own terms and have your efforts avoid it?
Well, it's hugely important, especially off the back of the previous Test match. It's probably one really dark day for English Test cricket, and it'd been very easy for us to roll over and feel sorry for ourselves. And I asked for the guys to try and put some pride back into badge and to show how much you care about playing for England going into the game. And I think you can certainly say that was the case this week. Now, albeit we didn't win the Test match and we're a very long way behind the game, to still find a way to get a draw from where we were shows the amount of character and desire and pride that the guys feel when they pull on an England shirt. And I think that was a very important small step forward for this group and something that we can certainly lean on going into the next game.
And can I just ask about Ben in particular? Obviously, he pulled that side, bowling those bouncers. Did you kind of worry what his impact on the game might be? And then to kind of see him deliver in 2 innings like that, how impressed were you with his efforts?
It seemed to like refocus him when it came to him to bat. It made I don't know. You could see he had that look in his eye, which you've seen a couple of times before when he's been playing Test cricket, and he looked very much engaged in what was going on. It was obviously difficult when you see one of your most influential players walk off the field as he did, clearly in a lot of pain. And the rest of the seamers had to pull up more, and Jack as well had to pull up more workload, which you don't plan for going into the game. But there's a wholehearted effort in many respects from Ben and from the rest of the guys as well in the field. But his performance with the bat was more like a Ben Stokes near his best, which is a really exciting thing to see going into the last game.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Andrew Ramsey, Scott Bailey.
Well, hi, Joe. As a captain, I guess you know that sort of declarations are always judged only in retrospect, aren't they? But did you think that, given the sort of the period you had last night, which was fairly brief, and you managed to get through, that sort of gave you a bit of extra sniff, given that chasing 350 was always going to be pretty much out of the question on that pitch?
Yeah, we'd have had to play the perfect game going into the last session to have any sort of chance of chasing that down. But especially off the back of Melbourne, for the guys to, with the pressures that were on them coming into a similar sort of situation, to be able to manage it like they did, I think was impressive and really important in terms of coming here today non-down and having a full go at it. So really pleased of the way they managed to deal with that pressure and give us a great opportunity to get something from this game at the start of the day.
Let's go Scott Bailey and then Bharat Sundaresan to finish, please.
Yeah, Joe, just wondering, given the circumstances, the injuries, what you guys had to go through coming into this game off the field, COVID, all that kind of stuff, and 9's out in the end and how rare that is this the gutsiest draw you've been part of? Can you think of a more gutsy draw, do you think, in your time for England?
It's hard to think at the minute. There's clearly a lot of emotion knocking around, and a big sense of pride overwhelming what is the overwhelming feeling at the moment. But yeah, it's certainly one of them. And as I say, it was a really important one for this team as well.
And then Bharat to finish, please.
Thanks, Danny. Hey, Joe. Joe, Johnny spoke about a couple of days back about how you earn the right to show intent. So do you think the way Johnny batted and Zach Crawley batted today, they're almost blueprints that you can follow going forward when you face Australia in Australia?
I think you've got to have a really good understanding individually of if you want to score your runs. I think the clarity was there for those two throughout this game. They both, and like a number of them, have approached things. But, Zach's tempo, his rhythm, the way he managed to, he was very clear about where he wanted to score his runs, and he looked very in control throughout, which, again, will give him a huge amount of confidence moving forward. And as for Johnny, I think you could clearly see how much it meant for him, how much it meant to him. But there's certainly a trust in his defence now, and I think the rest of his game has expanded from there. You talk about earning the right for intent. Well, that's come from him being able to trust his defence, and that's come through a lot of hard work. And similarly, a lot of character as well. Having to deal with taking a spicy one on the thumb as well.
Sorry, if I could just slip a final one. Similarly, about Jack Leach, there's always this talk of, have enough cricketers improved, after landing on a tour where you have lost. Do you think just the way Jack Leach bowled, he's coming into his own as well in international cricket?
I think it's certainly the best he's bowled since we've been here. And, I'm not using this as an excuse in any way, but with the lack of preparation and the lack of opportunity to bowl within a game, you've seen as the tour's gone on, he's certainly got better and better, the opportunities he's had to play. So it was really pleasing to see him bowl in that manner on quite an unresponsive wicket to be able to be as influential as he was really pleasing, and I'm sure he'll take a lot of confidence forward from that.
Thanks.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the rest of your evening. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.